right. What's up, everyone? This is Isaac with Hunger Smash Fitness. I am joined once again with my esteemed colleague, John, at My Block Strongest Man. And today we have, at the moment, we have Shane, and then we're going to get Wyatt on a little bit later. But Shane, if you just want to do a quick introduction about yourself, who you are, how you got into Strongman, all that sort of stuff, and we can go from there.
Let's see. I'm Shane Solomon. I'm from Benton, Kentucky. I've lifted weights about 30 years now, I guess. I've competed in strongman tournaments off and on for, I think, going on 18 years now. I sort of got into strongman actually through Clint Darden. Clint was, he and I met in college in 1996, and we lifted weights together, and then I trained in karate with him for about 3 years. And then right about when I graduated, he was always a real competitive just mind, like that was what he needed. And he hadn't found his outlet with weightlifting, how to do that. And then he got into strongman. And I moved to Nashville, and he kept bugging me saying, man, you need to try this. You'll like it. You'll like it. And then finally, I guess in like December of 2002, he got me to come to a training day there. And then there was another guy there from Nashville, actually in West Kentucky training, who lived like 5 minutes from me. And so I trained at Clint's, and then the next week I was out there with a guy named Ryan Brown, who ended up being a heavyweight pro for a little while back around 06, 07. And so that's how I got into it. And I guess the bug bit me, and I still can't give it up.
Yeah. You said you've been competing for 18 years now?
My first tournament was in June of 03.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess I'm one guy met Clint and I, and another training partner of mine, Jason Acree, and he's like, you guys are like the Vietnam vets of strongman.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I don't think I was ever great, but I've had a lot of fun with it and seen a lot of things, met a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really got my attention on your Instagram with the martial arts, actually, because that's a unique twist you don't see that much.
Well, I do that like as a additive to lifting weights because, I figure, most people tend to think of losing their mobility. And it's something that, I don't know. I think it's neat to be able to throw a spinning kick when I'm almost 50 years old and weigh 235 or 240. Now, the idea of me actually hitting someone with it would be fun. But in reality, they probably have to stand really still. But
yeah, I could see that.
Well, hey, I only weigh 187 and I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting because I think a lot of the strength athletes, powerlifters, strongmen, that type of stuff, don't necessarily focus on that type of mobility. So I think martial arts is a great addition to your training regimen.
Yeah. I do it. Actually, I went to a full karate class this last week for the first time in a few years, but I do a little maintenance martial art routine just a couple times a week after I lift. And it, it really isn't anything super intense, but it keeps me mobile, keeps me able to move. And I always think if you've got a skill, it's pretty easy to maintain that skill. And if you the
one thing I was wondering is earlier today, I actually interviewed Maxime Boudreau and Sam Bellevue, and they were talking about overhead pressing and how hip thrusts are important in overhead pressing. So I'm wondering if that kind of mobility training helps you out with overhead pressing because you keep your hips more loose.
See. Considering I'm probably the world's worst overhead presser, in my experience, no. But with the right person, maybe. I could always strict press almost what I could push press, which didn't really bode that great for me. And then about a year and a half ago, I tore a tricep. And so pressing is really rough now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Overhead
I think
pressing
Jessica Fitton is like that. She kind of strict presses everything, even if she's allowed to to push press it.
She
just
does
better
pretty
that
well
way.
with that, though.
Yes, she does
Yeah.
very well with it. Yes.
Yeah, because she actually trains at a close friend of mine's gym. Aaron Snyder and Christina Bangma.
Yep.
Well, speaking of Christina, now we're going to name all the best rock stars of all time today. Is that what we're doing?
I mean, maybe.
I was going to say we're very familiar with Christina Bangma over here.
Funny enough, her boyfriend Aaron, who got her into Strongman, he was at Clint Darden's house in December of 2002, the first day I trained events.
Oh, yeah?
He was 18 years old, and his mother had driven him from Fort Wayne, Indiana. So Aaron and I go way back. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, Christina's got a great show coming up in May, Savage Strength and Iron Warrior. So that's going to be
I would love to get to one of their shows because, I mean, she's just elite. I mean, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and I think before she met Aaron, she'd never really lifted. And then just took off, you know, because Aaron, you know, he and I have talked, and he's like, you know, he was like, I was never the best competitor, but he goes, maybe my thing in this sport was to find her, you know. You know, and he goes, she's obviously excelled.
Yeah, without question. I think, I mean, she's considered among the greatest lightweights of all time.
Oh, yeah. I would think. I mean, because I was there in 2017 when she won Worlds in her weight class. And actually rode the plane with her parents, unknowingly.
There you go. All right. Well, before we get too wrapped into this, let's do a shout out to our channels here and get that out of the way. So, I finally put up a new video. I've been working on several videos, but just with school, they all have a ton of editing that I need to get done with them, and they're not anywhere near ready to publish. But so I made a video about log pressing. So if anyone wants to watch that, it was kind of fun. Yeah, other than that, I think, other than that, it's just the live streams that we've done. What about you, John? Any videos that you want to shout out in particular?
Let's see. I'm looking at my my latest releases here to see what I have. Part 3 of my interview with Travis Ortmeyer came out. So that's that's a good one. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Travis is a phenomenal guy. He was an amazing interview for me.
Travis's story is just amazing.
Oh, no.
The way he tells it is amazing too.
I've not asked do what is?
The way he tells it is amazing. He's a great storyteller.
Which, you know, I was thinking, I watched him, like his videos from the Siberian show last weekend. And because Travis sort of came up in the sport when I did.
Yeah.
It's still like hard for me to fathom someone beating him at Atlas Stones. Because I'm like, someone really beats Travis Ortmeyer in Atlas Stones? You know,
I know. Well, and at the Siberian Power one, it was, I mean, because he slipped on it and it was a misload or whatever, and like, but he still did well overall, especially for taking a 10-year hiatus, or whatever it was. Like,
he was talking about it all pretty much being chalked up to perspiration, and he really couldn't hold on to it the way he wanted to because of the heat, you know.
Yeah. Which I can understand.
Which Travis is, you know, like he was my judge on car deadlift in 05 Nationals.
Okay.
So
there you go.
I have a sort of funny Travis Ortmeyer story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. 05 Nationals, which was, as far as a big tournament, I got 11th out of 60 something overall in the lightweights. And I got, I think, like on the stones, I got 4th place. And Travis, the stones, it's funny now because they don't seem that heavy. They went to 365 was the last one. Well, only one guy out of 60 lightweights got them. And only 4 of us got the 330. And I got the 330. And Travis was standing right behind the platform looking at me. And I had tacky on my hands. Well, after the 300, I stepped back. And I started tackying up. And Travis was like yelling at me, go, go. And he goes, you don't need more tacky. And I guess, according to him, I looked at him. I thought I'd thought it. He says he thinks I said, maybe you wouldn't need more tacky, but I do. And then, because I knew that I couldn't like try the stone twice and get it. I only had one shot. And I got it, you know. But it was sort of funny because I asked him online a couple of years ago, and he goes, I think you actually told me maybe you wouldn't need more tacky.
Yeah, he has a very specific mindset about tacky. Like there's an amount that's too much that he doesn't tolerate.
Which the way he just always attacked the stone was just like no one else.
Oh, I know. He's phenomenal. He's always fun to watch, and I'm excited that he's going back to World's Strongest Man this year.
Oh, I know.
I know it seems like there's a bunch of people that are kind of upset just because they think that, you know, him getting accepted, there's other people that got snubbed that should have gotten an invite. I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be people upset.
People get in because of Giants Live qualifiers, right? But like you gotta look at everything else they're doing too, even though it's not an official qualification. Right. Travis kicked butt at Mammoth Strength Challenge. I mean,
even getting hurt, like he was. Yeah,
I don't know. And Travis always struck me. He's a guy that always shows up. You know, I mean, if he wins, doesn't win, he's still going to put on a performance. He's going to be great to watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still think he can hang. You know, whether he wins or not, I would, you know, I'd love to see him do great.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's kind of where we're at right now, because with some of the people that are competing these days, like Alexei Novikov, and you know, it's the odds of him winning are probably slim, to be honest. But I still think he has a good shot at getting into the final. You know,
I was going to say, I don't honestly see him beating Novikov, or you know, because those guys they've jumped a few levels. You know, they have.
Yeah, or Mateus or anything like that. Like those guys are kind of in a class of their own, to be honest.
I think Mateus isn't competing this year. He's waiting till August for the Shaw Classic so he can heal up more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Martin Zlici, or I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. He's not either, I don't think.
No, I think Martins was sitting this one out too. And Thor sitting it out, I guess. So
he might be permanently. Yeah, he's.
Well,
I mean, as far as he said, he's retired, right?
Done. I would say. Yeah.
I don't know. With the way Thor is, though, I feel like he's set on being done unless something happened, you know, publicity wise, where it would be more beneficial for him to go back and compete. I don't know. I'm not a huge Thor fan, so. But
you know, I gotta say, I wasn't a huge Thor fan until Steve Schmidt, who I really respect, told me Thor's a nice guy. So I'm really reconsidering now.
It's just the 50 people in his entourage that aren't that nice. But
you know, could anyone be not nice to Steve Schmidt though?
Yeah.
Well,
It's funny because you see like this giant guy, and then he came on my show and he was so friendly. I'm like, wow, what a great guy.
I saw him at 2019 Nationals, and he comes out of his way over to me and he goes, I just had to shake hands with you. And I'm thinking, I knew exactly who he was, but I have no idea why he knew who I was. And then I see him up at the Mammoth Strength Challenge, and he's up. I'm down on the floor and he's up higher in the stands, and he sees me, runs down there to get a picture with me, then comes out on the floor to talk to me. And I'm like, did I compete with him 15 years ago and don't remember it? And then I asked Clint Darden, I'm like, Clint, I go, do you know Steve Schmidt very well? And he's like, I don't think I've ever really had a conversation with him, you know? And so, I mean, Steve is like the friendliest, nicest guy you could meet.
Yeah, so he had that conversation with you, and then you went out and broke a world record after that.
Well, he broke the world record before. He and Wyatt, I talked to Wyatt before the world record.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was telling Isaac, this is my my technique. I get all the overhead Mauser block press record guys on my show. I've had Steve, I've had Wyatt, Justin's about to come on. I've had Jessica, I've had Gabby.
I don't think you have to worry about me breaking a Mauser block world record.
All right, me neither. I'm with you there.
Oh man,
I'm working on the circus world record right now. I got tips from Anthony San Lorenzo. I got tips from Leifa Engels, so I'm on my way.
Oh,
there you go.
I trained with Dimitar Savatnov a couple times.
Oh, have you? He's going for the log press record now.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he currently was fully back in or.
He's on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is one of the nicer guys you could ever meet as well.
Yeah. I've had a couple chats with him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Same here. He did he delete his Instagram or something? Because I know I was looking for him the other day and I couldn't find him anymore.
I haven't looked for him recently, but I've not seen anything from him.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's been one of those guys where, like, anytime I had a question or anything like that, he'd get right back and always had great advice. So.
Oh yeah, no, I went down there. I was in Florida in 2016. My wife got sick, and I just was running around Orlando with my son, and I go, Dimitar had trained in Paducah with us once, and I'd met him very briefly. And I stopped by their gym, and there was a group training, and I got to talking to a young guy, and he goes, "Oh, Dimitar just left." So I Facebook messaged him. I'd never privately spoken to him, and he goes, "Oh, I live 5 minutes away. I'll come back." And I go, "Well, I'm going over to McDonald's with my son." And he goes, "Well, I'll meet you for lunch." And so Dimitar and my son and I had lunch together.
Oh, nice.
So, this is on a Saturday. And then he's like, in his Bulgarian accent, "I'm pulling Monday if you want to come. If you want to show up at noon." And I'm like, yeah.
That's the thing. The strongman community is amazingly friendly and just willing to help each other.
Yeah.
I was telling Isaac, I had the extreme fortune of having JF Corona on my show the other night. And he was like, I've been up to his city in Quebec City before with my wife many years ago. And he's like, "Yeah, anytime you come by, come in the gym." Like, he was just so friendly, you know?
It is, I mean, pretty neat that in this sport, like, you can sort of interact with your heroes. And it's.
Yeah.
I had a couple more, Isaac. I don't know how much you want to go into what I put out.
Oh, sure.
Week, but,
no. Yeah, keep going.
So the end of my conversation with Jessica Fithen came out, and she's an awesome interview for anyone who hasn't spoken to her. So cool. So that one came out. And then, as you see, Muscles Marinara, that's Anthony San Lorenzo. He's 105 kg pro strongman who's also competing at Clash on the Coast with all the other great 105s. Nick Camby's going to be there too. A bunch of really, really awesome pros. And then Sigfus Fosdal just came out. So Icelandic elite powerlifter turned strongman. I had a lengthy and really, really interesting conversation with him. I mean, he just gave me so much insight. So definitely check that out if you haven't yet.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check out the Sigfus one. I haven't talked much to him yet.
Yeah, he's all over social media. Like, he's extremely supportive. He likes everything I put out on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And then I said, well, he's competed in World's Strongest Man. People would want to hear this story. Let me get together and talk to him. And he was, like I said, he was super interesting.
Cool. Huh. Alrighty. Well, actually, would you want to talk, Shane? Would you want to talk about the Huseville Stone now, or the shield carry and everything now? Or
I mean, I can tell you what little I know.
Sure. Well, I tried it out for the first time the other day. This is me attempting a 360. I'd never touched it before, and my buddy had some stone sleeves, and I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, I'll try that." And they were way too loose. And so they slid right down my arm right away, especially on the right arm there, which you can't really see. And so they slid way down and bunched up. So then I dropped it to a 280 shield, And the funny thing was the 360 felt pretty light. Like I felt like it was something where if I could just find a way to hang on to it, it'd be really easy to just walk with it. And then this one, I cinched the sleeves down way more. And then it was a piece of cake to just go lap with it.
The 280 there or the 360?
This is 280.
Okay. Because
I think the hardest
you pick it up in a much more favorable. I mean, it's only a couple inches lower, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, because like the only way I really trained it was picking it off the ground.
Yeah.
And I sort of had to get it, and I would probably get it where you had the 360, and then the ones I was training with, I was trying to think back. They were solid, both of them. A solid 300 I did in a comp when I'd never done one. It only went like probably 60 or 80 feet. Then we made a solid concrete one that was 330. And it could bump up, like you could pop it up. And I did carry it for 200 feet one day. You know,
hey, there you go.
With a ground pickup. And I set it down. I didn't drop it at the end. But, you know, it was something that, and I trained sandbags a lot during that time frame, sandbag carries. And I sort of am under the opinion that sandbags help everything.
Yes.
You know, you have to train that actual implement a few times. But the Husafel itself always sort of would cut me up and was just rough on the body, where the sandbags didn't as much.
Yeah, I have bruises all the way down on my forearms there from where it was sitting. Yeah. Did you use like tacky or anything with it, or?
No. I think if I remember right, I had elbow sleeves, and I used tape on my forearms. I tried to get my whole arm covered so it wouldn't just beat it up terribly.
Yeah,
it just hurt so bad to pick up.
Yeah,
and because I knew that when I was gonna get it picked up, I would want to bump it up.
Right.
Yeah, see, the difference between me and you, Isaac, is if I were going to try Husafel for the first time, I'd try it empty.
Yeah. Well, it's only like 80 pounds empty, the metal frame thing. So.
I have no shame in getting used to something when it's light.
I know.
You know,
it was one of those things, though, where we were training, we were doing some stones and other stuff, and then we found this in the back of the gym, and I was like, oh, let's load it up and see how hard it is. I've never tried this before.
I saw a stone in my yard that looked about that shape about 20 minutes ago that I'm like, nah, Isaac's waiting for me. I better leave it alone.
As long as you get a video, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, no one else is home right now. I got to get a tripod out there, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, where was it? Well, because we did some sandbag stuff the other day. So that's a 330-pound sandbag. Which my buddy convinced me to wear wrist wraps, and I think that makes it harder, because then it makes it harder to actually get underneath the bag to grab it.
Yeah.
I don't know. All this stuff I'm still kind of a novice at, so I'm still trying to figure it out.
30, it's long, it's large. And
speaking of big bags, Shane, since you were at Mammoth, what do you think about the opening weight for that record breaker being 500 pounds?
To me, that seemed a little crazy. You know, and then, I mean, it was sort of a letdown when no one got a bag at all, really, did they? I mean, I was like, well.
It was crazy that Wesley actually even laughed.
That bag, it seemed real floppy and loose for a bag that they were using for a world record. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I would have wanted, you know, a nice bag that would have been
solid one.
You know, giving the guys the best chance to actually get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing that Wesley actually lapped it.
Yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, Wesley and Trey are both, I don't really know either of them personally, but I mean, they're both monsters.
Yeah, I mean, I and I were talking.
I think.
I don't even think Trey was on the list to attempt that day, but when Trey Mitchell shows up and wants to do it, you say yes.
Well, I was really shocked he didn't do it. You know, I mean, after seeing like some of his taculous stone work and stuff, I mean, and I think it was at the end of Worlds, I saw a video clip where I guess whoever went before the last run, they didn't get either one of the last stones. And he went out there just for fun and loaded that for whatever the last stone at Worlds was, each of them in both lanes, just for the pictures.
Wow.
It was like, wow.
Yeah, he's really impressive this year. Even going back into the Shaw Classic last year, when I saw him deadlifting, I'm like, this guy's deadlifting like a veteran. Like, he looks methodical, like Brian Shaw. You know,
I mean, he did everything real good at the Shaw Classic. He looked great at the Shaw Classic.
Yeah. I think Trey and Bobby Thompson both have. I think they have a lot of opportunities ahead of them because they're both starting off really solid.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're going to be around for a while. Hopefully they don't get any major injuries or anything like that. So
Bobby's very close in prep to that overhead American log press record. So he might. I think I'm thinking maybe Bobby and Wes Claiborne are both going to break it.
Yeah, Wesley close.
Did he hit a 450 for 3 in training the other day? Was it?
Yeah,
and they look. And
I thought I saw
like at the end, and they look good.
Yeah, I thought I saw a 470 for a single, but I might be wrong.
That may be right.
I think Bobby had the 470. Let me head to his Instagram here in just a second.
Either way, 450 for 3 gets you close to the record for 1.
Yeah. Was it? I think it was this one. No, it's 450 for 1. He did more not too long ago.
He did a pretty heavy triple, I thought, the other day.
Yeah. But yeah, he's looking really good.
That looked very comfortable, by the way. That didn't look very stressed.
Yeah.
I know. What is this? That's a 405 for 3.
That may have been the one I saw, actually.
Yeah, I thought he had a heavier one somewhere here.
Yeah.
But he's also one of those guys that a lot of the time. Okay, here's the 470 for 1. There we go. He's one of those guys who doesn't typically train contest weights though, and he likes to save some in the tank, and then when it's contest time, then he goes for it.
Which that, in my opinion, seems to be a pretty good method.
Yeah.
Everyone I'll deadlift, and my friends will be like, "Well, you had more in you," and I go, "I know."
Yeah, I know.
Because I know, I pulled in 2019 Nationals. They misloaded our axle deadlift at 570 from 13, and I pulled it for 10. Well, the best I'd done training was like 550 for 5. But I mean, I knew there would be something more there on the deck, And one of my friends goes, "Well, you've been sandbagging." I go, "Well, if I had done this in the gym, there's no way I would have done it that day." I go, I would have missed the peak on it. I go, that was about the best I could ever do on it, Yeah,
it's interesting. Some strongmen have that mentality. Terry Hollins, for example, almost never trains contest weights. And other strongmen do contest weight or above. So it's interesting how everybody kind of peaks differently or has a different outlook.
I don't know. I think you mentioned Terry Hollins. I think as you get older, you get smarter.
Yeah.
And you figure out, because Terry, obviously, he's one of the most successful 10-time finalist, 3 times on the podium, and now he's had 15 years up in the elite level. So you can't go just crazy every day training, and expect, but for 3 or 4 times a year, he can still show up and be right there, if he plays his cards right. Because it was heartbreaking at Worlds last year. He looked so good in the prelim.
I know.
And then that, the stone off or whatever. And he actually had a good run, but I can't remember now the guy that beat him because I wasn't familiar with him, but he was good. I mean, because Terry had a good stone run, then he beat it.
Yeah, I got to go look back and take a look. But I don't know, Shane. I'm 45. I'm still waiting to get smarter.
Age sometimes brings wisdom, and sometimes age comes alone. Is that the saying? Or like,
which my goal training is to never miss a weight training ever. At this point,
there you go.
And other guys do it differently. And I know when I was younger in this lifting and in the sport of strongman, I missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And now sometimes I'm thinking, well, would I have been better off overall? Every time I missed, if I'd backed off and done 2 doubles with a lighter weight, or
Oh yeah, I can understand that. I think because there's some other guys too. Like I know, isn't Adam Bishop another one that never trains contest weight? But I know he's also like a smaller guy too, and so I heard something about he was saying he likes to keep it lighter because he wants to increase his longevity in the sport, basically.
So that makes sense because Adam trains Terry. They train together.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I guess that adds up.
Yeah. So they probably have a similar mentality about it then. Oh, man. Are you still there, Shane?
Oh, I'm there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It just froze for a moment, so I wasn't sure.
I think I was sitting still for a moment.
Oh.
You know what also might be cool, Isaac, unless you have something else planned next. Shane on his profile, he works a lot with bands and chains and stuff, so it might be cool to talk about the benefits of those things if you want to bring up his profile on IG.
Yeah.
Oh my. Oh no. Which I don't know. I think my reasons for bands and chains, I have a few different ones than just the typical West Side barbell top. Because
that's the best stuff to talk about.
I've trained for 30 years, and I think like the bands and chains, I think I like them. It's fun for me. It breaks the monotony. And I don't think they oftentimes beat me up as bad as straight weight.
Yeah. I can see that.
Because like I said, Clint Darden and I are best friends. And if you've ever watched any of his stuff, he loves bands and chains.
Oh, yeah.
And because if I pull straight weights, all I have at home, I don't have a deadlift bar. I have a stiff bar. And if I pull straight weight, it just beats me up. But I can pull relatively often with a fairly heavy band or chain and get a higher percentage, like closer to my 1 rep max, with it not beating me up near as bad. Now, I do know, say if I've got a tournament coming up, I will try to phase out, especially on the main movements, a lot of the band or chain work, because people I know will post that, well, I did this weight. Well, just because you did that with bands doesn't mean it's going to be a straight equivalent.
Yeah.
Because, I've been guilty of that. Oh, I pulled, it was 700 at the top. Well, then 600 and straight weight felt like, death or something,
I know. I do think it's because it's really interesting with bands. Because, I was doing some banded bench the other day. And so I had 315 on, and then I had I think they were the black bands. And so they're supposed to provide 60 pounds at the top or something like that when they're fully stretched, something like that. And doing 315 with one of those on each side, theoretically, if they're fully stretched, that's 120 extra pounds or whatever.
Right.
And I think I got 2 or 3 reps with the bench and then took them off, and I was able to get 6 reps, no problem. Yeah. So it's so there is they're adding a lot of weight.
Oh yeah.
But whether I just, slapped another 45 on each side and called it a day, I don't think I could do that.
Which, have you ever, I ended up buying some luggage scales to measure.
Oh, there you go.
Because I will see people post something, and they'll say, oh, it's 200 in bands. And I've used the same bands, and I know they're not providing much over 100,
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, if you're benching at the top, say 500, 315 with enough bands to make 500, you should be able to hit 400 in straight weight, or.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't think those bands add near as much as they thought they did. Because I've thought that, I thought my short gray bands from Elite FTS added 200 at the top together. Well, I think they had about 150, so by the scale, they'll add about 150. Now, if you're a few inches taller, like somebody you're like 6'4", aren't you? Or
I'm about 6'5", right at
6'5". Yeah. So now for you, they probably would add 175 or something,
Yeah.
Because
that's the thing.
Like that's gorilla arms, and my arms, I barely go over my knees when I deadlift. So, doesn't help for pressing much, but
I know. Oh, I hate pressing movements because that's forever to go.
Yeah.
It was exciting though because we were doing some 18-inch deadlift the other day. Well, here, let me try and pull it up. And when I first, because we had it set, and I thought it was going to be 680 because we could fit 660 on the bar with the little tens and everything on the very end there. And then we had some chains around, and so I was like, okay, so 650 I think is what we thought it was, and then plus the chains. And then we ended up weighing the chains, and the chains were like almost 30 pounds a piece. They're like 28 pounds a piece or something. So we're like, okay, so actually it's like a little over 700 then or something for a total. And so sometimes having a little scale nearby is really nice because then you're assuming that the weight that you're moving is less, and then you actually weigh it and it's actually more. And that's always exciting.
Now my chains, I think, actually weigh about 10 pounds less. About 5 upside less than I thought they did. So I've been sort of disappointed, actually. Because I've weighed them. I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's why the straight weight felt so hard when I switched back.
Yeah.
It's something funny, you guys. I don't know if you've ever seen this, where sometimes, like with Atlas stones, guys will post training videos, and then you'll see them at a contest, and they won't come near loading that stone. And I think a lot of people have no idea what their stones actually weigh.
Yeah.
Because like everybody, and I mean, a lot of guys do, I know, but like everybody now is loaded a 400 stone, it seems like.
I can't find one. I need to find one so I can load a 400.
I mean, I don't know if a 400, my best ever, I loaded actually Willie Wessel's 385.
Yeah.
The owner of United States Strong. So I hope his was legit. I do have a video on YouTube of that, but
yeah,
because after I've had some nerve damage in my arm and then injuries, and I just don't know if I see me doing max Atlas stones. I really want to start training them again. So I've been doing a lot of sandbag work, and it carries over pretty well.
Yeah.
And just to give credit where credit is due, 385 is a really heavy stone, and I think Travis said he's got a 600 laying in his garage.
I know he used to, in his old garage when he lived in Texas, I know there was a 5 something he used to load. He may have another one now.
Yeah, Isaac, didn't he say he's got a 600? He hasn't been able to get it up on a platform, but didn't he got it off the ground, I think, but didn't lap it.
Wow.
Yeah, when I interviewed him, I think he said he did lap it, but he couldn't get it onto the platform. But it was like a 600-pound stone right at, I think.
Yeah, didn't he say it had like a cannonball center or something like that?
Probably. Yeah.
You'd have to have something crazy like that in it just to make like.
Well, because if you make it out of concrete, the diameter is going to be so big and just be maybe unless
like
you're
a 30-inch stone.
Thor, a giant. Because Travis is a very big guy, but he's not a giant.
Yeah.
Because I look at like Shaw and Thor, they're giants basically.
Yeah.
Tom Stoltman. Yeah.
Yes.
I was just going to say.
I mean, Kent's another guy who's pretty good at stones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's funny. I was when I was talking to Donna Moore, Tom Stoltman came up because she broke her record in his gym, and so she said, like, "Oh yeah, I've known him since he was a kid, so to me, he's just this giant baby."
Which he's kind of like that, he's a nice guy, but like he's He's funny. I get a hoot watching him. He's an entertaining guy.
And then now his world record stone, it looked easy. I mean,
yeah.
I'm like, well, the guy's got another however many world records he wants with it, if they make it worth his while to do it.
If they can make the stones in small enough increments, he could have a bunch of world records.
Oh, right.
Like this one.
You know what I mean? The same could be said of Shaw back when he broke the initial world record. Because I'm sure his world record stones, when they were, what was it, 560, 550, they all looked easy.
Yeah. And that's one thing I was bummed about. I wish they would have kept going with Shaw, because I feel like he could have kept going with it fairly easily, because when he was doing it, he made it look like a piece of cake.
Right.
But he was also 480 pounds or whatever when he was doing it too. It's just, when you weigh almost as much as the stone, I guess it's a little bit easier.
So what is it? Like he had a certain number of attempts and had to stop?
No, because they were doing it at the Arnold, I think it was. And I think after
there was
a while,
just that one big stone there for him. There was another bigger stone left, really. And
then
they decided not to have the event again for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I think I was actually someone posted an old video of Steve Mcdonald. You guys probably don't remember him, do you? He actually had the stone world record at one point, broke at the Arnold, and he trained with a guy, Steve Currett, who was a couple-time America's Strongest Man, I believe. And then McDonald got out of it, and then I think Shaw soon thereafter did his records, and then they didn't make it contested for quite a few years.
I see. Okay, yeah. The reason why I ask is because you were at Mammoth, so you saw the Mauser block overhead press records, and when Gabby Bergholzer broke hers, I think it was 197 point something, if I remember correctly. She I had her on the show, and she was talking about. I said, you looked like you had more in the tank, and she said, "Yeah, I did. I actually jokingly asked David Waters for a fourth attempt."
Did David not let her?
I don't think it was allowed. The rules were just 3. That's it. Yeah, she picked her weight for the third, and that was it.
I feel like with record breakers, it's like if they want to keep going for a heavier one, like, hey, let's break it 5 times today, all by the same person. Just keep going.
That's what I was thinking, something along those lines. Why not throw another 5 or 10 pounds, whatever she wanted in there?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody else is going for the record soon. I forgot who it is, and she's happy about it because she said, "Fine, I can break it again."
Right. Yeah.
There you go. Oh man. Yeah, those records are always fun because I think we're talking about stones again. Because doesn't Brian have like a 650-pound stone at his house or something like that? Too?
Brian, he interviewed, he talked on his channel about he has some bigger stones.
Yeah,
and he won't show videos of him loading them, but I think he has.
Yeah, because I thought he said that he had loaded like a 600-pound stone in his garage, and he was hoping that the Arnold would do it again, and then the Arnold decided not to, and so he just kind of stopped training.
That's probably the same video I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, like we said, he had more.
Yeah.
As far as coming back now and hanging with Tom, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just still, now he's what was his last record? 600? It was over 600, wasn't it?
I thought it was like 630 something, was it?
And it didn't look like a complete max either.
No, I think Tom could keep going.
Yeah.
And Tom's young too. That's the other thing. Like he's as far as strongman goes, he's kind of still a kid. So like he has a good several years in the tank where if he wants to keep going, yeah.
So since Isaac's busy running the show here, I'll do the research. Tom's lift was 630.
Okay, great, awesome.
Going back to what we were discussing earlier, the person who eliminated Terry Holmes was Ivar Smokstolis.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember.
I couldn't remember the name. I wasn't familiar with him, but
yeah, he was Strongman Champions League champion in Latvia. He just made podium at WUS, so he's really doing very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's only been in the game, like he's only been a pro level strongman for a couple years now, right? Like it's only 2 or 3 years.
I'm not sure.
Let's look that up too. I will be right with you.
Which I think it's amazing, like at Worlds, just the across the board talent. Because even like 10 years ago, unless something happened like an injury, or you knew what 2 guys were going to the finals. And like this last year, there were people in every heat that really could mix things up and make it real interesting.
Well, and I think it's so interesting because, like, with this last one, people kept saying, like, oh, well, this heat is really stacked and this one's really easy. And I was like, not really, because even the ones that they were saying was really easy, a lot of those
were very competitive.
Not the person you expected ended up winning it. And, like, that's partly what I love about Strongman, too, is, like, it's one of those things where, especially when you're getting to, world record type competitions like World Strongest Man and World Ultimate Strongman, if you're off your game just a little bit, you're done.
Like, oh yeah. At this point in time, I mean, even the Novikovs and Brian Shaws and those, like, Thor, how Leachy's, Thor slipped and got the little injury last year, and I mean, I don't know, Leachy's might have still beat him.
Yeah.
I mean, I hated that for Martins because everybody's like, well, Thor got hurt, but he looked good, though.
Yeah, he did.
By the way, I can't find when Ivar's well, in Europe, they don't really have a concept of a pro card anyway, but when he got on the world stage, his first contest, though, of any kind was when he was 18, and he's 33 now.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, so he has been doing it for a while then, I guess.
Yeah, I think in Europe, they don't already have weight classes, pro cards. If you're good enough to play, you show up.
Yeah. That's what everyone from Europe that I've interviewed has told me.
And if you do well, you get invited to the next one. And
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I'm working out getting him on for an interview, so I'll ask him all these questions. We'll get all your answers for you.
Oh, man. Oh, did you not to change the topic, but I was going to say, make sure you ask him if he wants to do the live stream at some point in the future too.
Yeah, if we can work out the time zone, I'm sure he would. He seems very forthcoming.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
He's 6 hours ahead of me, so he'd be 9 ahead of you, Isaac.
Yeah, so if we started at 3 my time, that's midnight his time.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the good thing. Since he's 6 hours ahead of me, he knows the future, so he already knows if he accepted or not.
There you go. Is that how it works?
That's how time zones work. They live in the future.
Oh, man.
So, Shane, what do you think? Who's going to win World's Strongest Man this year?
I'm for Shaw, but Novikov. I think Novikov's the guy to beat. I mean, he just seems to be looking like, I mean, even just the way he won the World Ultimate Strongman, and he's the guy right now, I think. I think he's going to have to slip up a little for somebody to beat him.
He's turning into a phenomenal athlete. I will say that much.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because when he first started, moving events definitely seemed like they were more his thing. I felt like, and the static strength didn't really seem like he had as much of an advantage with that. But as time goes by, then he won the 18-inch deadlift. He like all this other stuff where it's like, oh, he's not really that good at it, and then he starts winning those too, and you're like, well, now he's winning every event. Great.
Now at World Ultimate Strongman, I know because a couple people were saying, oh, well, that was an 18-inch deadlift. Well, at World Ultimate, it was that Axel from like 13 or 14. Yeah, and he 14. Was only like a second off the winning time there, wasn't he? I mean, he was second or something on it. So I'm like, well, statically, he's going to be right there if they pull from the ground or 18 or wherever. He's going to be in that top 3 or 4, couple guys you want to be if you want to be there at the end of the day.
That's one of the things that I think is so frustrating, though, because because I think Bobby Thompson won the deadlift at World Ultimate Strongman.
Yeah.
And then JF was like because of JF.
You guys are breaking up on me here.
A little bit, Isaac.
Okay.
It's him, not me and you, Shane.
Okay.
That's all right. That's a good.
Because now there was Bobby and JF and Novikov were all right.
Yeah. You're back, Isaac. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can't count out JF. He's going to be right in the hunt there.
I think it would be great to see him win one.
Yeah. I mean, he's been slowly and steadily improving year after year. He's 9 times Canada's strongest man. Like, I think eventually he will win one. I don't know if it'll be this year, but it'll be soon.
I'd like to. I mean, it'd be fun to see him win one. I think I'd love to see Jerry Pritchett podium.
Yeah.
Jerry was 4th last year, right? He barely missed it. He was second for a while. He was second for many events.
Yeah, and he's another guy who's as nice a guy as you'll meet.
Yeah.
I met him like in an elevator and I introduced myself. I'm like, I'm Shane. And he's like, I'm Jerry. And I'm like, I know who you are. I'm like, yeah.
I watched the television. I know who you are.
I mean, he's huge. It was sort of funny because there was another man on the elevator who was not strongman related. Jerry gets off the elevator and he looks at me and he goes, I'm guessing he is somebody, and I go, well, he's probably one of the 3 best deadlifters in the world. I mean, yeah.
he's somebody.
He goes, he's somebody, isn't he? I go, yeah.
Yeah, and in that list of 3, JF's in there too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I don't even know who the 3 would be now because
I think you got to make it more than 3. I think you got to make it 5 or 6 now.
Maybe 7 or 8 because you got
JF, you got Jerry. Rauno is in there. Makarov's in there.
Well, there's like 2 other guys who pulled in the upper thousands I'd never heard of within the last month.
Oh yeah, Payman, right? Payman.
And one of them was 1,063, and it was no suit.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Or I mean, if we're going back, I mean, not currently, but Benny Magnuson.
Oh yeah. Which I'm still my favorite. He's a little more power lifter, and Andy Bolton's still my favorite deadlifter of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who can forget Eddie?
Yeah, and Eddie.
No one can forget Eddie.
He doesn't let anyone forget him.
Well, that is true. And I've actually hung out in a room with Eddie for a few hours, and very nice guy. I mean, he's still, he markets himself, but he's a nice guy though.
There's nothing wrong with marketing yourself in my
opinion. At all. I mean, these guys Eddie and Thor and Shaw, they have I think there's only a short period of time you can play at that level, and they have to set themselves up for the rest of their life, and they have a unique talent for sure.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of marketing, Oberst is in there too.
I would say yes.
Yeah. He's very, very, very well known, I would say.
I think Oberst focuses more on the marketing than the actual winning the competitions, though. He focuses more on being that persona and making people remember him than actually finishing on the podium.
Which I mean, Oberst, he made quite a few people watch when he called out Eddie a few years ago, and I was like, "There's no way Oberst is gonna hang with Eddie," But he made it. People listen to him and watch him,
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it compelling. But I mean, while we're on the topic of nice guys, I got to shout out JF one more time. So here's a story of how we connected, and just to give you an idea of what a nice guy is. So I was just honestly looking around Instagram for people that might be interested in our show and interested in my channel. So I said, hey, take a look at my channel. You might like it. And he happened to be one of the ones I reached out to. So here's his answer. He says, I've been watching everything you do since last year's World's Strongest Man. I love your channel, and I'm like, this guy is famous. He watches me. Like this is but yeah, such a really nice guy.
Which, like, and you said, actually, I think we could find a much smaller list of not nice guys who are near the top. You know,
in this sport, yes,
most of them are very approachable and, you know, like you said, very accommodating. If you want to come train, I'll show up on Saturday. You know.
Yeah, it's different. You're more than welcome. In other sports in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there aren't other sports that are like that to that degree.
Very few, I would say.
What do you think, Isaac? Have you had an approachable moment with a strongman other than Shane?
No.
Honestly, I mean, like, all the guys that I've reached out to usually get back to me fairly quickly. And, you know, and usually it's just like, hey, what sort of advice do you have about doing X? You know, one of the ones that's harder to get a hold of is definitely Brian Shaw. But I know he's pretty swamped doing everything else too, and all that. So, but yeah, I think for the most part, like, they're just, strongmen are always really easy to get a hold of, it seems like, and very willing to give advice.
Which I would say, like Shaw, I would say, you know, his calendar is a lot more full than a lot of people's as far as, you know, getting back online. Like,
yeah,
which actually I have a picture. I wish I could pull it up on my phone of me unknowingly with Brian Shaw in 2006.
Yeah.
And it's pretty humorous. And then I met him. I went to St. Louis to see America's Strongest Man in 2016. And I went up after and talked to him and got a picture, and very laid back guy, and actually was cool with every single person that come up to him. And I showed him the picture, and he knew immediately. He goes, and he has gained about a person since that picture was made. He was probably maybe 310, 320, big guy, tall guy, you know. And I didn't even recognize him. A training partner sent it to me, and because he had pictures from that tournament. And he goes, it was myself and my training partner, BJ Barabbas, who was a lightweight pro for a long time. And then Brian standing behind me, he goes, is that Shaw? And I go, I don't think so. And I had a friend in the heavyweights that day. And so I sent it to him, and he goes, yeah, that's him. And I beat him that day. Because my buddy was just on the cusp of being a pro, not being a Brian Shaw, but a pro. You know, right. And Brian was just starting because Brian recognized the contest immediately. He goes, that was one of my last contests as an amateur. And it was in, I think, January of 2006. But Brian, he was, when I met him in 2018, he was like super nice, you know, just, you know, talked to everyone who come up to him. Some friends of mine actually were staying at the hotel, and he had talked to my friend's son for like 30 minutes in the hotel lobby.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I will say the one time I got to meet Brian in person, it was funny. Met him at a store out in town, right? And and it was when he was at one of his biggest sizes. He was like 480, something like that. Yeah. And like, you know, I'm 6'5" and just under 300, you know, and so I'm not a small guy, but I'm definitely not on Brian's size. But meeting Brian, I was like, that's the first time in my life like I felt minuscule. Like I am a very small individual at the moment compared to this guy.
I mean, it's weird seeing Brian by a guy that's like 6'2" and 330, and they still look small. And it's like, because, you know, and like, I remember that year at America's Strongest Man when I saw him, they had a Conan's wheel, and he was just so large, he could barely fit with the bar. Like the bar barely only came to like here on it. You know, everybody else that's sticking out here.
Yeah.
And just to be that large and still be that mobile was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Just be that, which I mean, he was a high level athlete prior to strength sports. You know, played college basketball, but he maintained a lot of that mobility, you know. So it was neat seeing him in person.
Yeah, and he still does a ton of like sled work and stuff like that, like that for that speed and explosive power and all that sort of stuff. He really like he works on it a lot.
And I guess now he's lost like 30, 40 pounds.
Or more. I think he was down below 400, he said, for the first time in like 10 years.
I think I heard 385.
So I'm curious, I'm curious how that affect, we'll see. I guess how it affects him,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like he was doing that big diet for a long time. And then as soon as they announced World's Strongest Man, I haven't heard anything more about the diet, and it sounds like he's bulking again now.
I wonder if he wanted to get lean and then but maybe come back up to like say 410. To help the static stuff a little bit, but maybe maintain, a somewhat leaner physique and
I don't know. I'm not inside Brian's head, so I don't know what his thought process is.
I mean, I do think Brian, though, he's such a meticulous guy, it seems. The guy always has a plan. He's not doing anything by chance.
Yeah.
And he'd be a neat guy to sit down and talk to if you ever got the chance, just to see how he is mapping everything out.
Oh yeah, we'd love to get him on the live stream sometime. Like, it'd be awesome.
We've done the dance all around him. We've had Steve Foshin on. We've had Tanner Amanthe. Everybody from Colorado's been on, but we've done the dance. But haven't hit the bullseye yet.
Yeah. So now you guys have the connections with him then.
Yeah, and I mentioned it to Steve Foshin. Steve went and worked out with him like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And I mentioned it to Steve beforehand, and Steve said like, "Oh yeah, like I'll mention it to him." And then afterwards, he messaged me, and he was like, I forget exactly what his comment was, but it was basically like, it's a possibility, but don't count on it. Right. I was like, well, all right, that's understandable.
I mean, I wonder. I don't know. He may have a fee to interview him now. I don't know.
That's what I wonder is like, I mean, he's been on TV shows. He's been, all over the place. So I wouldn't doubt that he has some sort of booking fee if you want to talk to him.
We have no budget.
Yeah, not yet, at least.
Not yet.
That was terrible what happened to Steve at Mammoth.
Oh,
yeah, it was. By the way, have you, do you talk to him at all, or did you talk to him there?
He is not like I got on the GoFundMe for him, and I've sent him, because I fell 2 years ago and completely tore a quad tendon and a tricep tendon. And so I messaged Steve and just told him, gave him some words of encouragement. He wrote me a really nice reply back. And then he's pretty close with a friend of mine, Mike Tumanella. He won the over 50 Masters at Mammoth. They were in the same class that day.
Yeah, I think because we had Steve on here, and Steve was saying that they always miss each other at competitions, and he was looking forward to beating Mike before he got hurt.
Man, beating Mike Tumanella would be definitely a notch in your belt. One I don't think I could ever see, but I always told Mike I just want, because I've never competed with him. We actually had lunch together about a month ago in Memphis when I was down there. And just he's a guy that would be great to have on. I mean, Mike's a wonder. He's 58 years old and has a shot at a 800-pound raw deadlift this year.
Wow. I mean, we'll definitely work on that.
I've told him, I go, Mike, you're an anomaly. I go, you're not supposed to be able to do this stuff. He's just, one of the probably most amazing deadlifters I've seen at his body weight.
Yeah, that's a crazy weight.
Which I jokingly tell Mike, because he didn't start Strongman until he was 46. And I tell him I'm older than him in Strongman years.
That's funny. But Steve Foshin's a fountain of knowledge. Like, we had such a great time, learned so much from him while he was on here.
Which, anybody, like I said, being around Brian Shaw training, because I've been lucky enough to train with, a few high-level guys and, pick their brains. Like I said, I started training with Quint Darden, which Quint would always be a great guy to interview. And then I trained with BJ Barabbas, he actually started training at my house when he started. Well, we trained together most of the time he competed. And then a guy, Chase Carnes, who got second, and he was on Team Elite FTS for a while. He also started training at my house. And I think he had the log press record for the 200-pound class. He hit a 355 log at 198 or 200. Just a monster of an overhead presser and a great strength coach. He coaches, what's her name? Jessica Rush, who trains with Fithin, I think, in that gym.
Yep. Yeah.
She won Masters Worlds, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. That gym that Christina and Jessica, they all train at is just a group of monsters up there in Indiana.
Indiana strong. That's right.
Yeah. They legitimately are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joshua Hillen trains there. He usually joins us on our streams. I guess he's busy today.
Yeah. Because I talked to Aaron Snyder, and he was telling me everyone that trained there. And it was crazy. Then there's another guy who was actually over 40, but he got top 5 at under 200-pound worlds a couple years ago. And I should know his name, and I forgot. Redheaded guy with a beard. He trains out of there.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of talent coming out of there. Albert Jonas Brand came out of there. He's in Minnesota now, but he was in Indiana before.
Yeah.
So what do you got lined up next, Isaac?
Nothing in particular, I guess. I was just waiting for Wyatt to join us as well. But I'm not sure. He still hasn't messaged back, so.
Well, while we're waiting, what do you guys think of the new entrants to World's Strongest Man this year? There's a couple guys that weren't there last year.
What do you mean the entrants?
I've not actually looked over the list that much myself.
Let me. You mind if I share, Isaac?
Go. Yeah, go for it.
All right. All right, you guys see that?
There you go. Yeah.
All right, so Gab Bilton was there last year. Adam Bishop, Maxime, who I spoke with today, JF, Kevin Ferris, Mark Felix. Johnny Hansen was not there last year, so he's new. Do you guys know anything about him from Sweden? I think he was Sweden's strongest man, I believe.
Huh. No, I don't recognize that name.
Yeah, and then let's see. There might be. I don't think I'm scrolled all the way down. There you go. Chris van der Linde is the other one from South Africa.
Yeah, I don't recognize either one of those. I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb without knowing the events. I'm going to say Ivars is going to do very well. He's been looking great lately. Yeah, I'm going to say
Claiborne did not get invited yet, did he?
No, he did not.
Correct. And now Bobby Thompson didn't either, did he?
I thought he did.
Did he?
I think.
Yeah, I thought Bobby got invited to Worlds, but not to the Shaw Classic.
Oh, okay. That may be.
Yeah. I don't know if he's accepted yet, though, because I know he had a couple other things that he was trying to do this year as well.
Yeah, there he is.
Okay, good.
He's been his deadlift has been incredible lately.
Yeah. And his overhead's obviously right up there. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's cool that you were at Mammoth, so you know all these stories. So you saw Bobby doing his car deadlift at Mammoth?
Let's see. I did not actually watch him do that.
So he's the only one that got to that part of the method.
I was going to say, wasn't the axle misloaded by like 100 pounds?
The 9-inch deadlift was misloaded by 87 pounds.
Right.
It became an inadvertent PR for Travis.
I was thinking it was 900, wasn't it?
It was 887. Yeah, it was supposed to be 800.
Okay.
And it was 887.
And it was which from the point I was watching them do it, it looked like it became almost a deficit because it was in the dirt.
It did. I'm trying to remember who I spoke to about, was it Dennis Long? I can't remember who I spoke to who actually told me that it did become a 2-inch deficit by the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure it appeared to.
Yeah, Bobby had a lot to say about that. He was not overly pleased with a lot of that.
I would have imagined, and then because I know, well, Wyatt was in the open heavyweights that day, and he missed that initial pull, and we were like, he should get this. And then I think all the classes were misloaded. And then
a lot of them were.
And then, well, I guess Bobby was the only one who pulled the axle in the pros.
Well, I know he's the only one who pulled who even got to the car. I thought he was the
one who got to the car.
True, right. If anybody else pulled the axle, they would have gotten to the car. You're right.
Because that axle looked ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard the axle was off too. I mean, just to kind of tell the other side of the story, though, you had Mammoth, Masters Nationals, and Highland Games all going on at once. So, the promoter and the crew had a lot on their hands. So you kind of got to take that into consideration too, just to tell both sides of the story.
Yeah. And I mean, things will go wrong at a show that big.
Well, even a small show, there'll oftentimes be things that'll go wrong. So when you're getting size,
a lot of people, they want to complain about shows, and I always tell people, I go, for one, it's Strongman, and I go, you pick up what they put in front of you. Sometimes you don't even know what it weighs. I go, that's part of the allure of it being Strongman and not powerlifting. I go, granted, when something's misloaded by 80 or 90 pounds, yeah, that's pretty rough on quite a few people.
Yeah, it's interesting from an audience perspective or a fan's perspective. We look at it, and like last year's World's Strongest Man, Colin Bryce literally used an implement that he said wouldn't be used, which was an anchor, and not an anchor, an anvil. Sorry, an anvil.
Okay.
And
Graham Hicks tore his bicep on it, I think.
Yeah, but it's like he did, but again, as you say, like part of the allure of Strongman is the surprise. Like that sometimes things will be surprising. So from a fan's point of view, you had thousands of people complaining, but from an athlete's point of view, yeah, some of them don't like that, but a lot of them are cool with the surprises.
Which now I think that's another thing we'd mentioned, European tournaments. A lot of the tournaments in Europe, I know probably 10 or more years ago, they never knew what they were going to do till they got there. You just showed up and you were strong and I always assumed the same guy usually won either way. Usually.
Yeah.
That'd be it'd be more exciting in a way, but it'd also be more frustrating just because if you happen to be training the wrong stuff to get ready, you're out of luck. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think especially at that elite level now, it is so heavy that, just throwing random 1,100 yokes and 400 farmer, I think that's stuff you really have to specifically be prepared to do. That you may not just randomly be able to go and run an 1,100 yoke every day of the week or, where if it was an 800 yoke, most of those guys, they're going to be fine whenever. But, that just, some of the weights the heavies move now is just insane to me.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're going in ready and fully prepped for it.
Oh, yeah. Because, I've talked to Wyatt before about just how strong you have to be an average open heavyweight competitor. Not even by any means a pro, just to get through a contest without zeroing and be an open heavyweight at a local show. I'm like, you have to be really strong.
Yeah, and this is, you're talking to Wyatt, a guy who has chosen the hardest overhead implement to world record in.
Man, I met Wyatt, I guess, about 3 years ago. And he's a guy, you meet him and, there's something a little different about him, I think, in a good way. And I can't say enough, just he's a good human being amongst being insanely strong and getting much better. And I hope to see him go on to even higher levels than he's at now.
Yeah, I told Isaac when I first met him, I said, Wyatt might be the coolest guy I've ever met.
I mean, man, he's just, like I said, I mean, outside of the sport, he's a good person. He's done a lot outside of the gym to help a lot of people I know. So,
yeah, he was doing a cross-country drive not too long ago, and still came on our live stream, audio only, but from the car driving across the country,
nice.
just because he said he would. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and then, you know, he, like I said, I've met him, and then that the way he handles that block just seems to me otherworldly, sort of. You know, the way he rows it into his chest and then just flips it. He doesn't lap it and clean it, you know. And I'm like, how do you do that? You know?
Yeah, his record is what is his record? 297, is that right?
296, 297, right there, right at 300. And I found it interesting that day, which him and Jamie Wilson and Nick Sanders that were attempting, they had to wait so long that day. You know, because I went out there and talked to him, and because Jamie and I have talked online for years, and that was the first time I'd ever met him was at Mammoth in person. And, you know, and they were out there, and, you know, they had got warm and cold like 3 or 4 times. And then so Wyatt, you know, looked better each attempt. He looked rough on his first attempt. And then the one he actually broke the record the last time, he looked, you know, it looked easy. So I think he was just getting in his groove, you know.
Getting warmed up for it.
Right. Yeah, because
Jamie's a nice guy, too.
Do what?
I said Jamie's a nice guy, too.
Oh, very, very.
Yeah, they kind of, I think they're all friendly with each other, like him, Wyatt, Justin. I think they're all friendly.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jamie likes to bust chops. So whenever I did an interview with Wyatt, and I posted it, and I said, record breaking, Mauser block, record holder, whatever. Like I used language that he deserves for his accomplishments, right?
Right.
And Jamie like had a comment in like, I'm always telling Wyatt how not strong he is, or something like that.
Yeah, Wyatt and his overhead, and I mean everything hopefully will keep moving on up. You know,
I think it will. Yeah, I think he's still young enough where he's got a lot of potential ahead of him.
And Wyatt was just, didn't come from an athletic background really, and I mean it just, you know, because I was in band in high school and weighed 130 pounds, you know, and Clint Darden had told me something when he met Wyatt that came so natural to him. And I go, do you mean like being an all-state wrestler and playing college football is a better background for this than the band? And he goes, you said that, not me. I'm like, well,
I don't know. Were you carrying around a tuba?
No, saxophone, but no.
Yeah, if you're a tuba player, that might prepare you for strongman.
That would be good, maybe for the Husafell stone, you know, for some weight.
Yeah, there you go.
I used to play trumpet. That's how I got my grip strength.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got to get the charger for I'm on my phone, and it's about to die. So give me
man, take your time. We'll be here.
Sure. So I found Johnny Hansen.
Oh yes, I saw this profile.
Yeah, I've
a big dude.
He's a very big dude. Well, I mean, how big is he?
Very big.
But I mean, so he and Ivers know each other, I guess. But
let's see. Let me try.
So this, have you ever done seal rows?
Yes.
Oh man, these suck. But he's got the bar he's got it loaded up. Jesus. 140 kilograms.
Woo! That's strong.
Yeah, I guess I need to start doing this more. I mean, I can get, 180 maybe pounds. not kilograms.
I mean, I was going to say, I think I've done them with around 200. And, you know,
yeah, because this is 100 kilograms, so 220 pounds. What? So 26 reps in 60 seconds.
Woo!
That's just.
So, by the way, this is his third time at World's Strongest Man. I didn't realize because I went to went to the worldstrongestman.com, which is always like a year behind for some reason. It's not like totally up to date, but it's saying
sometimes
that
2 to 3 years behind.
Yeah, well, I was trying to be nice, but yeah, so it's saying he's making his second appearance at the 2018 World's Strongest Man. So this would be his third because I don't think I saw him at 2019 or 20.
No, I'm not familiar with this guy at all. So
he's listed as 6'7", 369 back in 2018.
Okay.
He looks large. Very.
Well, especially in this picture here with I don't know if that's a fan or girlfriend or something, but that's
it resembles like Thor and his wife. You know, have you seen their pictures?
I know, that's crazy.
Maybe they do double dates. Sweden and Iceland, are they far apart?
Close.
Well, it's a boat ride away, I guess,
Yeah.
or a plane ride. But and then who was the other guy that you mentioned? There was someone else that you mentioned that I wasn't familiar with.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. It was Chris Vanderlinde, I believe. I'll let me get the spelling.
Chris Vanderlinde. Huh.
Yeah, he's from South Africa. Okay, official roster. Here we go. Barbend has the official roster. Yeah, Chris Vanderlinde, Linde.
Okay, so, and is it Van Space Derlin?
Yeah, 4 words altogether.
Okay.
He likely has an alias for his IG, like I do.
Yeah. I'm not really seeing any like strongman focused accounts, but I don't know.
You found the one that I found, Old School Eatery.
Old School Eatery.
That's the one I found when I put in Chris Vanderlinde.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, he'll be an anomaly. We'll see how he does.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, World Strongest Man I think will be fun this year. It's always interesting just because different athletes definitely favor different events, and so once they come out with the actual concrete list of these are the events for World Strongest Man, you might have a better guess of who's going to podium. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they decide. I know Laws was saying that he had access to like a potential list or something.
Chopping up again. You're chopping up
that.
again,
Isaac. He mentioned in one of his. He said, "Do you think? Am I back?
I think you're back now.
Am I back now?
Yep. You're frozen, but we hear you.
Yeah.
I think my kids are watching movies in the other room or something. Oh well.
Oh.
I found a YouTube video about Chris Vanderlinde. He's known as the Ox.
Does he fit that billing?
He's a big dude. Let me share this. Hold on. Is it sharing?
No.
Oh, I think Isaac, you might have to bring the share in. It's in your waiting area. There it is.
Am I back?
Yes.
Or am I still frozen? Or what?
You're like you're slushy. You're partially frozen. I think you're back now.
Okay, am I back?
Yes, you sound good.
Okay. Okay, good. Man. So this is Chris Vanderlyn that we're watching here.
Yeah, this is a 420 kg attempt. Pshaw, if it ain't 500, it's nothing. Yeah, I got to find some more stuff on it to see. Wow, that looked pretty good. Got a little hitch. Yeah, I have to see if I can find some more stuff of him doing different event-specific training. But yeah, that was him, Chris Vanderlyn.
He can deadlift. We know that.
We do.
I don't know about him winning the deadlift, but he'll be competitive, though. You know?
Yeah, looks like this is him, not that other guy that Google brought up.
I don't think most strongmen are doing underwear ads.
I'm going to agree with that. I don't know. Maxime told me he's done bodybuilding shows. Maybe he could.
Maxine appears
Really?
pretty
Wow.
rather lean.
Would you say he appears lean?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's getting strong. I mean, he's doing. He said he's going to work his way up to 500 stone or above before Worlds.
Wow. I mean, was it the Muscle Beach tournament last year that he looked so great at?
Well, he was. I think he first came on the map at the Arnold Santa Monica.
Okay.
Then he was at. Yeah. Then he was at Worlds and Shaw last year.
Mm-hmm. What did he end up at the Shaw? Was he 5th, 4th?
He was 8th at one of them. I don't remember if it was Worlds or Shaw. I think at Shaw he was 8th.
Okay.
He did really well in which one was it? Farmers? Let me see. It's funny. I just looked all this up when I spoke to him earlier, and I've already forgotten. I know deadlift wasn't so great for him. I mean, he's a good deadlifter, just not among the best in the world.
I was going to say, I think that's, at that level, it's sort of his weakness, maybe.
Yeah, I think he
call it a weakness when a guy pulls mid 800s, but
yeah, like he's in the 8s, but yeah,
right. Yeah, it seems so silly to people. Kieslowski or whatever, he's pulled what near 900, and there was he can't deadlift. Well. You guys there? Hello?
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
Isaac's frozen again.
Yeah.
Must be cold over there.
Now, where does Isaac live?
He's on the West Coast. He's in Washington State.
And where are you located?
New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just a hop, skip, and a jump north from you, huh?
Yes. Now, have you been around Johnny Waz up there?
No, where is he in Jersey?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I got to go find him now.
He's an interesting guy.
I've heard.
In his mid-40s, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't spoken with him yet, but I've heard a lot of great things.
Yeah, I think he owns a gym somewhere in Jersey.
Oh, I got to check him out.
Yeah.
All right, so while we wait for Isaac, let me share my screen again.
Johnny would definitely be an interesting interview.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
For sure. So let's see. This is a video I did about World's Strongest Man some time ago. So I think Maxime should be in here somewhere. So he was in group 3. And let's see, where'd he finish?
Did he narrowly miss the finals?
I think he narrowly missed the finals. I think you're right.
I was thinking he did.
Yeah, because this is day 1. And so in day 1, he did... Let me do my other video that is the second day. Should be this one. Oh yeah, he got himself in a stone off with Tom Stoltman. That's
why. Yeah, that never ends well.
No.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that doesn't end well for probably anyone in the world at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Maxime's stones this year are incredible, but no one's going to beat Tom Stoltman.
You know, I wondered, like, you know, it was last year, or now I guess in 19, that Novikov missed the finals because of the stone off with Trey Mitchell.
Yes. Yeah, like 2-3 years ago, right?
It would be interesting because I don't know that Mitchell would ever just quit being able to load the stone. And I don't know if Tom would. It would see those two in like a stone off like that.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It'd have to go up into the 20s, I bet.
Yeah, yeah. And
because
not to mention, Trey just looks incredible in everything this year. He looks improved in everything.
Yeah.
Did you catch any of the video from Texas Strongest Man?
Mainly the Keg Toss.
That's the one I was talking about.
Yes. The keg, I mean, the memes on it were great.
Yeah, I mean, he was like throwing those things off the screen.
Yeah, when the contest promoter, and then there's the guy holding the styrofoam catching him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it says, yeah, the contest promoter really dislikes you or something. And you end up having to hold a piece of styrofoam and catch kegs.
Here you go. Here's the kegs. Like flying off the screen.
Right, there they go. There it is.
I think, didn't I see? I don't know if I saw it on Instagram or somewhere where he said he's never thrown kegs over a bar before.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he's amazing. He's gonna do some damage both at Worlds and at Shaw.
And what do you think? Who was the guy who took second to him in Texas? Gabe? What's the Pena?
Gabriel Pena? Yeah, it's probably Gabriel Pena.
He is awesome too.
He is. His deadlift is crazy. Like he's doing some trap bar deadlifts that are like out of this world.
Any deadlift he does is out of this world.
Yeah.
Because I know last year at Worlds, because he ended up having the heart arrhythmia issue with AFib. You know, before that he did that. The way just his deadlift off the ground was fast as anyone I've ever seen, even at that level, I think.
Yeah, he's a powerful guy for sure. It was Worlds last year had a lot of unfortunate injuries, right? I mean, there's so many bicep tears. Like Evan Singleton was doing great before his injury too.
And then Hicks is back this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, hit a 350 for 3 strict log the other day. So he appears to be healing well. So
good. How do you think he's going to do?
I don't know. He's close friends of mine, so I'd love to see him do well.
Good. Good.
And I mean, which it really, that log, did you see him when he was nearing the world record log at Europe's Strongest Man?
Yeah.
That was insane how fast that crosswind was.
Mm-hmm.
I could not, because those flags were just whipped. I couldn't imagine, because he broke the European log record, I think, that day, or England's log record.
I think I think so.
And then I don't know if he took the world record attempt or not. He had planned on it, but I just couldn't imagine him being able to, take a near world record attempt in those windy conditions outside.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, he's a strong guy. He's going to do well for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, I know he said he was the best stone loader in the world for his height somewhere.
Oh, really?
Because I mean, I think he's the same height as he's like 5'10", I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's tall for me. I'm 5'8".
Yeah.
What do you think of the heats at World's Strongest Man? Should they have them, or should they just take everybody and do every event and be done with it?
Oh, it'd be more fair if they took everyone and did it and was done with it. Now, I think it may not make as good a TV.
Yeah.
And I mean, World's Strongest Man is a TV show. So I can see both sides. I think for the athletes, there's gonna probably not a whole lot, but there's gonna be 2 or 3 guys who lose out because they do the heats. Where if they let them just go and take the top 10 to finals, I think most of the same guys, but it would affect a couple. And especially the way they do the stones now, and give them such preferential treatment in the heats, double the points on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I know that really hurt Hollins last year. Because he probably, I don't think the other man would have been in the position to beat him had it been regular points, because Terry did good on the stones. He just didn't do good enough to beat him,
Yeah.
And would have probably only lost, say, a point or two if they had given regular points.
Yeah, there's a lot of that strategy that goes into it that I think audience members don't always understand. Like Terry and Brian, it came out later that they had kind of an agreement to tie on the deadlift.
Right.
But then I messaged
saying
Terry about it later, and Terry was saying even if I won the deadlift, it would have gone back on count back, and I wouldn't have made it anyway, so it didn't matter.
Right. Yeah. Because I know I read something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean, it's I would like to see. I don't know about no heats, but at the very least, make them the same events. You got one guy doing squats and one guy doing not something else, and it's not fair.
I mean, I'd sort of like to leave stones in the heats and just let them be regular points, though.
Right.
Which I think they want to. That creates. I think the head-to-head stones was neat. As far as watching guys like the Novikov and Trey Mitchell stone off, go until neither one of them quit. But then it totally messes you up when you get in the finals and you've loaded a 380 stone for 15 reps.
Right.
I mean, your back and your biceps and everything have to be wrecked for days at that point.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and then you're supposed to go be competitive with the top 10 guys in the world 2 days later.
That's the thing with the stone off. It's an extra event that not everybody has to do. That's one reason I don't think it's fair. It's extra wear and tear that doesn't apply to everyone.
Right, because, I mean, it gives, like that day, Shaw barely beat Novikov in that heat. But then Novikov had to go into the stone off against Mitchell, who is obviously an exceptional stone loader. And Novikov still got in 13 or 14 reps deep with him,
Yeah.
Which was amazing,
One thing I wanted to ask you, so I've asked a couple of guys that were there, but I want to ask from an observer's point of view. In the Shaw Classic last year, given that it was at such a high altitude, let's say you were competing there, how do you think that would affect you, if at all?
Oh, considering I don't breathe well anyway, I have a history of lung issues as a kid. But I definitely, granted, I had probably the most fun watching like a tournament online or on TV more than I've had in years watching that Shaw Classic, I'll have to say. I like the way they produced it, and I just thought it was great. But it had to give Shaw an advantage that he had trained in that altitude.
Right. Isaac, you're back, by the way.
I mean, I would have to think, you get a bunch of 300 to 400 pound guys and then take away part of their wind. That would be rough.
Yep.
Maybe on them more so than a smaller person. I don't know, honestly. I've never been in a high altitude. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I'd say it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. So you want me to tell you what the guys who were there said?
I'd love to hear it. Sure.
They said it only mattered on Circus Dumbbell, and on Circus Dumbbell, it mattered a lot.
Okay. Which in Novikov, I mean, he was still the guy on Circus Dumbbell, I think.
Didn't bother him.
I was going to say, if we did it on Mount Everest, I think he's going to come out the winner on
Yeah, JF and Maxime both told me that they felt it on Circus Dumbbell, and for the other events, a little bit, but not.
And now, which JF and Maxine were probably that losing up 1 or 2 reps on that really could have hurt, given them, messed up a couple places probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think the winner was only 4, right? So, I mean.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, even Kevin Ferris, he got 4, but didn't get. I don't want to say he didn't lock it out. He didn't control it for a full second, so they didn't give him 2 of the reps. I felt so bad. I'm like, he did it. Come on.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't question Chad Coy and Van Hatfield much, though.
Me neither.
I mean, I do personally know both those guys, and
oh, do you?
They're good people. Yeah.
Yeah. Chad Coy, I think, is on some of the Facebook groups that Isaac and I hang out on.
Yeah, Chad, I mean, from coming up in Strongman, he was around before I started. He was always he'd be a fun guy to pick his brain because he literally has seen everything. And he often wasn't the statically strongest, but he could figure out a way to be competitive, even giving up bone frame and maybe static strength at times. And I mean, the guy's still around.
Yeah.
And it's been around since his first tournament was in 96 or 98. Something like that. Yeah.
That's a while.
Yeah.
So, Isaac, now that you're back, I don't know if you want to take over, if you want to wrap up or what have you.
Yeah. My Wi-Fi, we're having some super high winds right now. And so my Wi-Fi keeps dropping. And so I finally switched to data. I'm doing a little hotspot with my phone. Hopefully that hangs in for a little bit, or do you think we should wrap it up? I still haven't heard anything from Wyatt, so I'm not sure if he's going to make it or not. But
yeah, maybe we'll try him again next time. We're getting a little late, so we don't want to keep Shane too long.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, thanks for taking over for me, John, with all the.
You got it, buddy. Anytime.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, well, I guess for everyone who watched it and got to this part, I need to go back and rewatch it because I missed about half of it here. So I'll have to go back and rewatch it. Yeah, but thanks for swinging by, everyone who watches this. Thanks, Shane, for coming in and joining the live stream.
I hope it was worth having me on,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we had a blast. By the way, for everybody watching, we haven't mentioned yet, make sure and like this stream, subscribe to Hunger Smash Fitness while you're at it, and then we're going to end soon, probably in the next few minutes. Go over to my blog, Strongest Man, and subscribe to my stuff and watch my stuff as well. I got videos coming out 3 times a week, and my podcast is out now, too, on the Anchor and Spotify platform. So definitely support us both. We'll keep bringing you all this great content weekly, and really appreciate it. So go ahead, Isaac. Just had to get that in.
No, definitely. Yeah, maybe once I start making more money, I'll upgrade my Wi-Fi so I don't keep dropping off here. But yeah. Well, thanks for joining us again, Shane, and we'll have to try and get you on again sometime when the weather is nicer for me, so I can actually talk to you some more as well. Yeah. But yeah, that is all for today, and everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you guys so much for having me on, and if I can help you with something anytime, just drop me a line. I've got thoughts and opinions on things. I can't say they're always right or whatever, but I've seen a few things,
Same here.
We appreciate it, brother. We appreciate it.
Which I figure in Strongman, there's a lot of right ways to do things. You know, there's not one size fits all to training and competing and.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and have a good one.
Okay, you guys have a good night.
Thanks, Shane.